Welcome back to another week of yTeam Stories. I am very excited to introduce our next guest this week. It is the amazing, the wonderful, the sparkly, the pom-pom gal, Nesceda Blake. Woo!
Hello, everyone.
I feel like this is a massive throwback for us, Nesceda, because I remember my first ever moment as a yTeamer was at MAD, and you were one of the participants at that MAD conference. I feel very lucky to share this interview with you. So for those that do not know you like I do, can you please just introduce yourself, how you met yLead, and a little bit about what you're doing at the moment?
Thank you for that intro, Lucy. I didn't know that was your first time yTeaming. That's so cool. Hi, everyone. My name's Nesceda. I am from Melbourne, Victoria, down south. I first met yLead in 2015 at the MAD conference, back when it was called Girls for Change. I was in year 11 then, so that was a while back, but a great sort of way to be introduced to the wonderful world of yLead. What am I doing now? I am finishing off my uni degree. I'm doing a Bachelor of Arts in Theatre and Performance at Monash. So with that, I'm working on my own as an independent producer of comedy and cabaret work. That's where I want to go with that. So I really like the experience of being able to help others create fun and joyful experiences, making people laugh, that sort of business.
That's awesome. That was encapsulated in a few words. I also said to Ness before we started recording that her backdrop very much represents who she is as a person, and we love the pom-poms. They've become very iconic over ISO in this year, I feel.
Thanks.
So kind of tied into that, Nesceda, I wanted to ask you, if you were to describe yourself in 3 words, how would you describe yourself?
Oh, okay. Effervescent, because it's a fun word to say. Pocket rocket, pocket-rocket, if that's one word. And another one, blonde. Sometimes I just have those moments and I just think, surely I didn't just say that. Surely that didn't just happen. But sometimes blonde moments are a thing that happen. Yeah.
Cool. And you mentioned that you're living in Melbourne at the moment. Usually on a day-to-day basis, if you were to take us somewhere near where you live, where would we go and what would we do?
Ooh, that's a good one. My first thought went to my favourite cafe, because that's a very Melbourne thing. Lucy, you might be familiar with it back when you were in the area. It's called St. Rose, and it's on Rose Street by Essendon Station. And they have the best brekkie ever and the best coffee ever, and I miss it a lot. And takeaway exists, but it's just not the same. If we didn't go and get food, I would probably take someone to a theatre show in the city. Not a main stage one, something a bit more independent and low-key. Yeah, maybe the Butterfly Club. Yeah, I'd take you to the Butterfly Club.
My question for you is, what is your spirit animal?
Just generically, like parrot, just any sort of bird that sings or talks. I love those funny videos of birds where they're just like bopping to the music, or they're just like walking around. I actually watched one yesterday of a cockatiel singing the theme tune to the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, and I want to be that bird. So that's my spirit animal. I'm that cockatiel.
Oh, this is brilliant. You're definitely living up to your description words of being a pocket rocket in this interview so far, so I'm very much enjoying it. It's great.
Thanks.
All right, my next question for you is, if you could have dinner with anyone, alive or dead, who would it be and what would you talk about?
I've thought about this before. If it were fictional, I'd love to chat to Leslie Knope, because she just needs to come in and save the day, you know, and I just really want to be Leslie Knope as well, so that's a thing. But if it were someone who is a real person and not fictional in a sitcom, it would probably be, I have 3 grandparents that I've never met because they passed before I was born, so one of them, I don't want to pick, I don't want to discriminate, Yeah, any of those. Maybe my dad's mum, my grandmother. Her name was Nancy. Yeah, probably her. Just to learn more about my background and family, and also gain some knowledge of what my parents were like as kids. Yeah.
That is the knowledge that everyone wants to know, but we only scratched the surface of that, so that would be pretty cool conversation. Very funny, I feel like.
Definitely.
All right, my next question is, if you could present a TED Talk, what would you talk about?
If I were to present a TED Talk, I think I would talk about pom-poms and just why they're fun and why people should find a thing that is fun for them. I found during ISO, this is something I made in ISO. I decided to learn how to make pom-poms. I made it in 6 weeks. There's 166 up there. And it became a project that just was really a really good way to unwind and just do something that was a little bit monotonous, a little bit easy, that just allowed me to unwind for the day. No stress involved. It was at my own pace. So just sort of using that as a way of finding things that bring you back, keep you calm, keep you chill. If it weren't the pom-pom TED Talk, I would probably want to talk about the value of theatre and the arts and comedy and creating stories through those mediums. I just think it's the best thing in the world. It's really powerful, and it's really a great way to share knowledge and share new ideas and share stories that aren't going to reach people in any other way, by having those communal experiences in an audience. And I think during this whole period, we've learnt the value of the arts, and everyone's sitting and watching Netflix and TV and absorbing music and absorbing all these different things that they might take for granted. So just reminding people of the value of that.
You can see how passionate you are about the arts and using that in that way. I think it's very cool. I'd love to hear your TED Talk if you ever created one. It'd be awesome. My next question may be related to your last answer, but the question is, what is a skill that you have that you could teach others?
I think the skill that I'll be able to teach others is not so much a skill, but just a conversation that I would want to have and want to open up with people. I think I have the ability to sort of talk with people quite openly about what they're passionate about, and sort of ask those probing questions to find out more about what gets them excited, what gets them happy and buzzed in the morning. So I feel like if I had to share anything with anyone or teach anyone anything, it would just be starting those conversations of how to express what you're passionate about.
Ness, my next question relates to our 5 colours of leadership. So our 5 colours are red for passion, green for growth, blue for vision, yellow for service, and white for integrity. And I just wanted to ask which one of those colours might be resonating more with you at the moment and why.
Normally when I think of the yLead colours, I would go straight for red for passion, just because that's what I resonate with the most, I think. But at the moment, I would probably say green for growth, just because it's really a time for all of us to figure out what works and what doesn't work for us, what we truly need and what really isn't helpful day to day, and what habits or people we're talking to or things that are just not impacting on us positively. I feel like that comes with growth. You need to be able to grow. You need to be able to identify those things to be able to grow and become a stronger person, more resilient person. I feel like that's a really big one at the moment.
We're going to move into our fast 5. So this is literally like, you've got to choose one over the other. Would you rather style, right?
Okay.
You've got this.
All right.
Whatever you
I'm
feel.
ready.
Okay.
Yes.
Number 1.
I'm ready. Mm-hmm.
Beach or forest?
Forest.
Savoury or sweet?
Sweet.
Stan or Netflix?
Netflix.
Road trip or plane trip?
Road trip.
Early riser or night owl?
Ooh, night owl.
That was so good. You answered those like you were just ready to go. That was great. That was probably the fastest fast five I've ever had. That was
Oh, really?
amazing.
I was inspired by that episode of Friends where Phoebe is she's trying to get Monica to answer the questions really quickly. And she's like, this or that.
I
So,
love
that.
Friends. And I love that episode. So thank you for reminding me of that.
So
Very
good.
funny. Oh gosh. All right, Ness, I wanted to finish this interview by asking you to answer a question about something that you've mentioned a few times, I suppose, across this interview, but also if you've been lucky enough to meet Ness through Y Connect or maybe at another event of yLeads, you'll know that she is really passionate about theatre, but she's also very open about the fact that she is on the autism spectrum. And so, Ness, I wanted you to share that connection that you hold between those two parts of life for you and how you might use theatre and the arts to express your own individuality and encourage other people to do the same.
Yeah, definitely. As Lucy said, I am very open about being on the autism spectrum. I was diagnosed at age 4, which is very young for a woman on the spectrum. A lot of women do go for a very long time without being diagnosed, just because we are so good at adapting and recognizing how we should act socially and things like that. In terms of how me being on the spectrum, me being autistic links to my passion for theatre and things like that, if you know anything about the autism spectrum, you might be familiar with the fact that lots of people on the spectrum struggle quite a lot socially and communicating and finding out what is the right way to talk to other people and how to interact with other people. So a lot of what my connection to the spectrum came through theatre. And this is because with interacting with other people, I would have to learn almost scripts of how conversations would go, how interactions would go, what school would be like, what playtime would be like, what dinner time would be like, because I struggled to communicate. And for a long time, I was basically selectively mute. I knew how to talk, I knew how to communicate, but I just chose not to. In my mind, I just thought, okay, what's the point? I don't need to tell you if I'm hungry or not. I don't need to tell you if I want a drink of water or not. It's none of that. So through theatre, I learned the value of communication and interaction and how to do that by forming these scripts in my head. And then when I got to high school, performing and being able to put something from a page onto stage or create something and put it on stage came really easily because I got it. I got, okay, this is the formula you need to do this into that. And it paralleled a lot of what life for me was like as a kid. And I speak really confidently now and really enthusiastically now, but as Lucy would have experienced in this interview, we've had a few takes of things. We've had a few times where I've gone back and been like, no, that was not good. I don't want to say that because the words didn't match what I was thinking. And sometimes there is that disconnect. So theatre and expressing yourself made it a lot easier for me to do that because I knew what I was meant to say. I knew what I was meant to do. In terms of that leading me to where I am now, I want nothing more than to create experiences that make people feel good and empowered within themselves. And those experiences made me feel good and empowered within myself. And being able to share stories with an audience, particularly people on the spectrum, is really interesting to me because we aren't represented. We are represented, yes, in some forms, but it's not accurate. It's a spectrum. Everyone looks different on the spectrum. Everyone's different. That's fact of life. I want to create experiences that help people feel like they are represented and they can see themselves on stage, and then they can go and feel more confident that they are understood and acknowledged and valued in the world, and also maybe have a laugh along the way, you know. I want people to feel happy and good. So I think that answered the question. I don't know. But yeah, that's where I'm at. So yeah, be you.
That was, I mean, Ness, I'm not gonna lie, that felt like a TED talk, and I was sitting there feeling like the passion, as you talked about. It doesn't surprise me that passion is like one of your top sort of leadership qualities, because the passion for your individual self and then also allowing other people to feel confident in their individual selves comes through so strong. And I love that you've been able to find that through theatre, because I similarly believe that theatre is super powerful, particularly in revealing stuff about the human condition and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so thank you so much for sharing that and for sharing this whole interview with me. Like I said, I feel like it's been a blast from the past, and I'm excited to see where you head in theatre, hopefully running your own theatre company one day. I don't know, I'll come to the show. But before we wrap up, one final question I have for you is, if people want to connect with you, socials, what's your preferred platform?
I am on Instagram. I'm not very active on my public one, but it's at Nesceda, Nesceda, or I have a Facebook page, Nesceda, Nesceda, or chuck me an email. It's just my name at gmail.com.
Thank you so much, Ness, once again for sharing this interview with me. This has been another week of yTeam Stories. We will see you guys next week. Bye.
See you later.